The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended World War I. It held Germany responsible for the war's devastation. The treaty imposed harsh penalties on Germany. These included territorial losses, reparations, and military limitations. Germany felt humiliated and resentful. This resentment fueled extremist ideologies. Economic hardship promised to restore Germany's glory. Many Germans saw the treaty as unjust. They felt unfairly singled out. Nationalists felt betrayed by the Weimar Republic. The Treaty of Versailles is considered a flawed peace. It sowed seeds of resentment and instability. This led to the rise of extremism. Ultimately, it set the stage for another global conflict. Hello viewers, welcome back. To understand this video, you need to watch previous video. To watch previous video, please click on the link in the description box without wasting your valuable time. Let's get started. Amid the turmoil of the 1920s, a charismatic and ruthless leader emerged, Adolf Hitler. A decorated veteran of World War I, Hitler joined the small National Socialist German Workers' Party, or NSDAP, in 1921. He quickly rose through the ranks, capitalizing on the widespread discontent and economic hardship. Hitler's powerful oratory skills and nationalist rhetoric resonated with a population yearning for stability. Hitler's rise to power was meteoric. Through political maneuvering, intimidation, and propaganda, the Nazis steadily gained support. Hitler was appointed Chancellor on January 30th, 1933, marking a turning point in German history. Once in power, Hitler wasted no time in dismantling the democratic institutions of the Weimar Republic. He ruthlessly suppressed any opposition, imprisoning or eliminating his political opponents. Hitler's primary objective was to restore Germany's military might, a blatant violation of the Treaty of Versailles. He believed that a strong military was essential to achieving his expansionist ambitions.
We initiated a massive rearmament program, secretly at first, then openly defying the treaty's restrictions. Factories were repurposed to produce weapons and military equipment. Young men were conscripted into the expanding army. The Luftwaffe, our air force, was established, and the production of tanks, artillery, and warships increased exponentially.
Germany's rearmament was a clear signal of Hitler's intentions. It sent shockwaves through Europe, alarming the other European powers. The League of Nations, the international organization formed after World War I to prevent future conflicts, proved powerless to stop Hitler's blatant disregard for the treaty. Emboldened by his growing military strength and the lack of a resolute response, Hitler began to test the waters of appeasement. In 1936, he ordered the German army to reoccupy the Rhineland. This was a clear violation of the Treaty of Versailles.
The remilitarization was a pivotal moment. It showed the weakness of Britain and France. This emboldened me, confirming my belief that the Western powers would not intervene.
2 years later, in 1938, Hitler turned to Austria. He believed in Anschluss, the unification of Austria and Germany. Exploiting a pro-Nazi movement, he orchestrated a political crisis, annexing Austria. Section 5. The Sudetenland Crisis and Appeasement. With Austria successfully absorbed into the Third Reich, Hitler set his sights on the Sudetenland. This was a region of Czechoslovakia with a predominantly German-speaking population.
Hitler claimed that the Sudeten Germans were being persecuted by the Czechoslovakian government and demanded their incorporation into Germany.
The Sudetenland crisis pushed Europe to the brink of war. Britain and France, led by Neville Chamberlain and Edouard Daladier respectively, were determined to avoid another devastating conflict at all costs. They adopted a policy of appeasement, hoping to satisfy Hitler's demands and prevent war. In September 1938, the leaders of Germany, Britain, France and Italy met in Munich to decide the fate of the Sudetenland.
At the Munich conference, Chamberlain and Daladier agreed to cede the Sudetenland to Germany in return for Hitler's promise that it would be his last territorial claim in Europe.
Section 6, A World on Edge, the failure of diplomacy. The Munich Agreement was hailed by many as a triumph for peace. Chamberlain returned to Britain declaring that he had secured peace for our time. However, the agreement was a disaster in the making. It emboldened Hitler, who now believed that the Western powers would never stand up to him.
The appeasement of Hitler at Munich had disastrous consequences. It shattered any remaining hope of containing Nazi aggression through diplomacy.
It also exposed the weakness of the League of Nations, which proved utterly incapable of preventing another global conflict. The League of Nations, already weakened by the withdrawal of key members like Japan and Italy, was effectively sidelined during the Sudetenland crisis. Its failure to take decisive action against Nazi Germany further eroded its credibility and effectiveness. Section 7. Poland invaded, the spark ignites. The ink was barely dry on the Munich Agreement when Hitler began planning his next move. In March 1939, he violated the agreement by occupying the rest of Czechoslovakia. This act of aggression shattered any remaining illusions about Hitler's true intentions.
With Czechoslovakia firmly under his control, Hitler turned his attention to Poland. He demanded the annexation of the free city of Danzig and the creation of a corridor through Polish territory to connect Germany with East Prussia. Poland, backed by security guarantees from Britain and France, refused to give in to Hitler's demands.
At dawn, on September 1st, 1939, German forces invaded Poland, marking the beginning of World War II. The invasion was swift and brutal, with the German Luftwaffe raining bombs on Polish cities and military installations. The Polish army, although bravely resisting the invasion, was quickly overwhelmed by the superior German forces. Section 8. Declarations of War. A continent at war. The German invasion of Poland triggered an immediate response from Britain and France. On September 3rd, 1939, both countries declared war on Germany, honouring their commitments to Poland. However, their declarations of war did little to help Poland, which was quickly overrun by the German blitzkrieg. The declarations of war by Britain and France marked the beginning of another devastating conflict in Europe. Within weeks, the continent was engulfed in war, with millions of soldiers mobilized and entire populations bracing for the horrors of total war. The initial phase of the war, known as the Phony War, was characterized by a period of relative inactivity on the Western Front. However, the conflict raged on in Poland, where the German forces faced fierce resistance from both the Polish army and civilian population. Section 9. The Pact of Steel. Germany and Italy unite. While the world watched the events unfolding in Europe with bated breath, Hitler had been forging a strategic alliance with Benito Mussolini, the fascist dictator of Italy.
On May 22, 1939, Germany and Italy signed the Pact of Steel, a military alliance that formalized our growing cooperation.
The Pact of Steel was a significant development in the lead-up to World War II. It created a powerful alliance between two expansionist powers, both bent on revising the Treaty of Versailles and expanding their influence. The pact sent a clear message to the rest of the world. The balance of power in Europe had shifted dramatically. The alliance between Germany and Italy was based on shared ideological grounds and a common desire for territorial expansion. Both Hitler and Mussolini believed in the superiority of their respective nations and sought to establish empires in Europe and beyond. Section 10. The Tripartite Pact, a global axis. The alliance between Germany and Italy was further strengthened with the signing of the Tripartite Pact with Japan in September 1940. This pact, also known as the Berlin Pact, formally established the Axis powers, a military alliance that would shape the course of World War II.
The Tripartite Pact was a response to the growing strength of the Allies, particularly the United States, which had begun providing material aid to Britain. The pact aimed to deter the United States from entering the war by creating a formidable alliance that spanned across Europe and Asia.
The Tripartite Pact had global implications. It transformed World War II from a primarily European conflict into a truly global war, with battles fought across multiple continents and oceans. The pact also highlighted the ideological underpinnings of the conflict, pitting the fascist and expansionist powers of the Axis against the democratic and anti-fascist nations of the Allies. Section 11. The Shadow of Nazi Ideology. The outbreak of World War II was not merely the result of political miscalculations or diplomatic failures. It was deeply rooted in the ideology of Nazi Germany, which espoused a dangerous mix of nationalism, militarism, and racial superiority. Hitler's belief in the inherent superiority of the Aryan race and his vision of a German-dominated Europe fueled his aggressive expansionist policies. The Nazis' warped ideology led to the horrors of the Holocaust, the systematic genocide of 6 million Jews and millions of others deemed undesirable by the regime. The Nazi ideology cast a long shadow over the 20th century. It serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of unchecked extremism, racial hatred, and the pursuit of power at all costs. The lessons learned from the horrors of World War II continue to shape international relations and serve as a stark warning against the perils of intolerance and aggression. Thank you for watching. To support us, please do like, share, subscribe, and turn on notification bell icon for more videos. Stay tuned. See you in the next video soon.